Tonight, CBS News is exploring across the country how climate change affects your vote and whether elected representatives are aligned with their views on the issue. Research by Yale University shows 70% of Americans think that global warming will hurt future generations.
Two-thirds say Congress should do more about it. As a local example tonight, KDKA political editor Jon Delano explores the reported feelings and actions in Pennsylvania's 14th and 16th congressional districts.
Climate change often seems undeniable. Record numbers of wildfires, unending floods and hurricanes, more spring tornadoes than ever, and an escalating number of 90 and 100-plus degree days.
I think the average American is now aware that climate change is a serious issue, and they want the government to be doing something about it.
But Professor Karen Clay at Carnegie Mellon University's Heinz College often sees a disconnect between public desires on climate and the positions of their elected officials. That was the subject of a Pennsylvania study by Professor Holly Caggiano at the University of British Columbia.
Local elected officials believe one thing about climate change while the public believes something else?
Yes, that's what we found in our study. And I think there are some other studies that support this as well.
Take two Republican voting congressional districts near Pittsburgh, represented by Republican members who voted against the bipartisan infrastructure bill and the Inflation Reduction Act, which contained the largest investment in reducing carbon emissions in U.S. history, among other provisions. Republicans criticized the bill as legislation that was too expensive and would advance liberal policies. In the 14th congressional district south and west of Pittsburgh, 53% say they are worried about climate change. 62% say it will harm future generations. 71% support funding research into renewable energy. And 53% think Congress should do more on global warming. It's not much different in the 16th congressional district to the north of Pittsburgh, where 55% are worried about climate change. 61% think it will harm future generations. 76% support renewable energy research, and 51% think Congress should do more on global warming. So why this disconnect between constituent views on climate change and the actions of their representatives? We reached out to both congressmen who currently represent these districts, Guy Reschenthaler and Mike Kelly, but neither was available to discuss the topic.
Americans say they want action on climate change, but it ranks number 12 in terms of things they actually say they care about, right? Below things like inflation, violence, the economy, healthcare.
With other issues more important, that gives some elected officials permission to vote as they wish on climate change, often thinking constituent views mirror their own.
What we saw was largely that what they believed about their constituents' preferences very much aligned with their own.
What can the majority who support more action on climate change do? Caggiano says,
I think that the best thing that we can do to combat this is create more space for open dialogue about what communities want. When there's more opportunities to talk about what a community prioritizes, where they want to be headed and thinking about the future, I think that there's more opportunity to correct these misperceptions.
Clay says it may take something more. Just like the first Earth Day in 1970 motivated the Clean Air Act and the creation of the Environmental Protection Agency.
I think we may, in the next few years, get some kind of catalytic moment like that that will motivate politicians to be more on top of this climate issue.
Whether that catalytic moment is some kind of environmental catastrophe or not, who knows? But on this issue, like so many others, the public is almost always a few steps ahead of the Congress. I'm Jon Delano, KDKA-TV News.